So the feeling right here at the bottom, we evaluate information based on personal values, emotion, and making decisions that congruent with our values. And remember, the internal representation of reality, values and beliefs, they sit at the bottom. And this is not something we think about it in words. We just know. We know it in our gut. It's like that. And some of it is not. Some emotions are reactive. Some are responsive, and you already learn how to respond as opposed to react. Now, sensation are you're experiencing the world through the senses. We have 5 senses, and you better, because we need to have 5 senses, and you gather information about the physical environment. This is all automatic. We all have sensations. And then the intuition comes here, and it comes with perceiving patterns and connections in information and generating possibilities for the future. Okay, this is how this functions. This is not right or wrong, right? So when we do the higher mind, when you do the higher mind, you combine all of these. And it's very important to not stay too much in a thinking, in analyzing, and all of the conclusion. We don't want to eliminate thinking, but in this day of age, we are so conditioned to stay in the thinking mode, to analyze, to draw conclusion. And the conclusion is, I like it, I don't like it, it's right. And it's very important to not stay too much. And then you run, fight, or freeze, or fawn, or whatever. So I applaud you and every single one of you to come here and learn about you and how you function at automatic level, and learning to apply these tools, the higher mind, the rose, and coming back into the center. Right? You already have.
Yes.
Okay, that's not what I want to show, but let me go through. Okay, this is the higher mind. We talked about this. What is the other image? Okay, here are the senses, right? We talked about. Let me move this a little bit. Here are the senses. We hear, we see, we taste, we smell, and we touch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when we meditate, the reason we close our eyes, and like I guided you last time, just close our eyes, not in a go to sleep, but lower the eyelids, is because we receive so much input through what we see, analyzed, right or wrong, like or dislike, to do or not to do. To keep it simple, we lower the eyelids to reduce the input stimuli. Okay, and now you have your headphones on, which also helps you reduce the input stimuli and focus on this, so you can allocate your attention on what you're doing right now. Right? Attention, focus, concentration, observation, 4 different things. Nobody teaches you that. All right. So let me go to this other image, which eventually I'm going to get there.
Well, you've given me plenty to chew on with the attention, focus, and concentration are three other things, or three different things.
4 different things.
Oh, four. What did I miss one? Attention, focus, concentration.
Do not worry.
Oh,
You're
okay.
already doing, with a higher mind, you're already doing all 4 of them.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so let me see. What is this? Okay, what I want to get, do you see? You don't see this.
I see you.
Oh, you don't need to see me. That's what the one
and a drum.
Yeah, that's when I do spiritual ceremonies. Is the drum helps, the beat of the drum helps induce theta brain waves, and it takes you into meditation and calm space. And I don't mean to get you dizzy with the images right now, which you probably got dizzy a little bit. All right. Okay, so here's collective unconscious, because you wanted to have that a little bit. So here's all of it, the consciousness and the unconsciousness. So all of the consciousness has unconsciousness to it, or unconsciousness has consciousness to it. But there's 3 different consciousness, and I already had that on the screen. There's conscious, unconscious, and superconscious. So in this unconsciousness, which we have, there is collective unconscious, which, remember, we covered last time that we draw upon it on all different layers, right? Your unconscious, family, father, mother, church minister, teacher, all of that, and then your city you live in, the country you live in, the continent, the continent, the planet, and the constellation, and all on. So this is complex, but we draw from it whether we like it or not. As we become more aware, like you already learn how to choose what you put in, what you draw in. And as you become more aware of your thoughts, then your response adjusts accordingly. And congratulations for making such good progress. So ego consciousness, we need to have that ego consciousness. Everybody beats on the ego. Please don't beat on the ego anymore. Understand it and be kind to it and learn to heal it. We cannot exist without the ego. We need the ego. If you think of a ego is that which protects you, and when you look at your physical body, the first thing that protects you is your skin. Mm-hmm. If you wouldn't have skin, God help us, everything would just, how many bacteria would get into unwanted places? Mm-hmm. Right? So skin is such a significant organ. So we don't take as much care of it because we take it for granted. Mm-hmm. But it's very important. Ego, think of it as that. So we need to heal it. And the way we heal it, we have this shadow that stays in our unconscious, and it stays in the collective unconscious. And you see in this image, the shadow is not that big. Well, it's not, because we are going to transcend it. And the way we transcend the conscious, the ego, or the conscious and the ego, without beating on it, just transcending on it, we bring the unconscious into conscious and work with the shadow, which is the dread itself. That which we not good at, that which we should be because everybody else says that we should be and we're not, and we go stress about it. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not confident. Oh, okay. So
the bully.
Well, yeah. Well, when other bullies you, and then now we have such bullying going on such a high level of the uncollective conscious and unconscious, that affects you. Oh my goodness. So So that's not going to go into shadow. That's it. We're not going to let that go into shadow. So we're transcending. And the way you already begin to transcend by using the rose to clear things, and you have those sensations. Remember the 4 functions we went over earlier. So you have this sensation and this intuition, then you clear things. You involve the thinking, you involve the feeling, you involve the intuition, but that sensation comes, and then you clear the sensation. You already affect all of the 4 functions. Okay, and you already begin to transcend. And from the ego, we build a bridge to the shadow, and we make the ego and the shadow begin to make friends. Okay, we're not going to beat on the shadow either. We're not going to beat on the ego. Yeah, we're not going to beat on our weaknesses. We're going to embrace the weaknesses and transcend them. Because every weakness you transform. Every weakness has benefits. Every strength has benefits and not benefits. I don't want to say the other word, okay? Mm-hmm. So, and the way you transcend, the way you build this bridge is through your soul. Connecting with your soul, which you already began doing. We're not apart from the soul. We're not disconnected from the soul. It's just our awareness is not there, and we don't work on it. Okay, so we're going to keep this simple. And anima animus is where Carl Jung talks about it, and that is, maybe it goes this way. Okay, so here's the unconscious mind, which is the lower self. Let's think of it as a lower self. There's a conscious mind, which is the middle self, and then the superconscious mind, which is the higher self. So it gets more complex than this. We're going to keep it simple. So when you do the higher mind, you get there. You take away from the unconscious, you tame the conscious, you heal the conscious, and then you combine, you bring in the higher self, and you create a balance between these 3. We need all 3. We cannot be without all 3. And this, I think we covered. This is more complex, but this is what I want to get. So right here, it says The Self by Carl Jung. And remember, Carl Jung, psychotherapy would not exist without Carl Jung. Freud, everybody knows about Freud. What Freud is a bit limited to taking the individual to his sexuality, to this instinctual, only the physical aspect of the human. And Carl Jung came over and said, well, no, that's not enough. We have a soul. We have a spirit that connects with our soul. We have personas, and we have shadows. And we need to individuate all of that. We become whole in it. So in this persona, ego is in this persona. But ego is not the only one. We have social roles, cultural norms, expectation to embody your best qualities that you present to the world, to school, work, family, friends. And the persona you need to present in a business, at work, it's a different persona that you present at home. It's a persona you present to your wife, and it's a persona you present to your son. Okay? So just knowing about it, just go, oh, all right, then, sure, piece of cake. I can be aware of it, and I can do different. So you've already experienced personas, so to speak. It gets more complex. But embodying, let's just say with this role, embodying the 3 different qualities of self: curious, capable, certain. Now that's a big deal, to be able to feel that, not just think it, but feel it, embodying it, and you're going to expand on it. All right. And then here's the shadow. The shadow is your weaknesses. We all have I have weaknesses. You're kidding me? I know everything. I don't know everything. Everybody has weaknesses. It's sometimes it's your arthritis, your joint hurts, and then you have weaknesses because you have a headache. Whatever weaknesses, emotions, impulsions, doesn't matter. A weakness is a weakness. We all have them. Then you have desires and lust. So let's not engage in lust that much. Yeah, it's normal to have desires, but we want to have good desires. This desire, we're going to move here, right? Right now, you have a desire to learn about yourself, to expand, to individuate, right? Then we have instincts and shortcoming. Well, we better have instincts, but is the auto habits that have you snap and have you react and judge and don't like it, right and wrong. We need to have right and wrong. God help us if we don't have right and wrong, and if we don't have instincts. And this shortcoming, and then things we project onto others. Oh, projection! It's such a thing that we do, and some people do more than others. This is a whole class out of 8-10 weeks, once a week, right? I'm gonna have to make a course on it, because I particularly see one of my weakness is to be bothered by people projecting onto other people over there out there, not in my world, not around me, but out there, because I understand how this affects the collective unconscious and how this goes down on individual. That bothers me, right?
Yes.
Weakness. I shouldn't.
Gossip. Yeah, it's almost like gossip. I mean, when you're projecting something onto another person and they're not part of the conversation, but then when you're like projecting it to them, like you say, like during social media or something like that, that's almost worse, because you're summarizing them as a person, right? Like you're just basically like trying to encapsulate all that they are in like a snide remark, which is not good. It's just toxic.
Okay, that's evaluation, categorization, like or right, wrong, like dislike, to do or not to do. Projection, it's a psychological mechanism that often falls into mental illness. Those narcissists, those self-centered people, when they project their weaknesses on you. And I'm going to keep it simple. If they're a smoker, they would criticize you for being a smoker. No way you're a smoker.
Right.
They have the cigarette in their hand, light up, making lots of smoke, and then they criticize you for smoking and polluting the air. That's the best example I can give. Only it's not physical like the cigarette is physical.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. It's like an authoritarian type. How you position it. You're positioning yourself almost like you're in charge.
Yeah, so they cannot possibly think of themselves of having weaknesses, and whatever weakness they have, they project it onto you. So if they talk badly about somebody, then they say that somebody talks badly about me, right? So it's just, it gets complex, and I need to educate some of my people about projecting. There's so much going on lately. Anyway, so let's just keep it simple, whatever weaknesses you have, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to have weaknesses. Embrace your weaknesses, right? So what am I going to do about this weakness of mine being so about other people projecting onto in the collective unconscious, going down into every single human, and I see them being affected by it because I know how consciousness works. So I need to step back, higher mind, higher mind, and a bit more advanced skills, and send love to that. That's what I need to do for the collective unconscious and educate as much as possible. That's what I'm doing. So now you're going to think about your weaknesses, and then you're going to say, higher mind, what am I to do about my weaknesses? Well, first I'm going to embrace them. Well, I don't like my weaknesses. Well, I'm going to embrace it. Yeah, but I have to mean it. This is what I should, could, would. Well, but I'm going to embrace them. And so on. So let you argue with it a little bit. All right. And then the way Carl Jung looks at anima animus, there is something called as the anima of the world, and the animus as sacred. So we all have a soul. Pets have a soul. Kitty cats have a soul. Your puppy dog we all have a soul. The planet has a soul. The galaxy has a soul. The creator created a soul, and the soul created you. Right? We're going to just keep it simple. So anima animus, Carl Jung so beautifully distinguishes between feminine and masculine energies, right? Qualities that exist in everything. There is a east and west. There is a north and a south. Think of it like that. So as it comes to the humans, anima is the feminine aspect of the male psyche, right? And it's one half of the whole which balances the animus. The left balances the right, and east balances the west, and the north balances the south, right? Animus, think of it as the sacred, is the masculine aspect of the female psyche, is one half of the whole balancing the anima, right? So anima animus has to do with the soul, that sacred part of you that is sacred, and it never gets dirty. It never gets influenced. It never gets projected upon. I mean, all that soul does wants to take you on your path, which the soul knows what your path is, and have you expand. So it is the soul, well, the other two, that took you on the path to right here for you to learn more about and individuate. Okay, so we cannot not include the soul. It's very important. And the soul is not a religion. Okay, religion is very good, but the soul is not religion. So when we begin to work with the shadow, we still going to have things in a shadow, but we transcend the shadow, right? We transcend the shadow because we build the bridge from the personas to the soul, right? And then they're not going to be proportional. The shadow slice of the pie is going to be smaller. We don't want to be without shadow, because no, just let the shadow be, but let it become healthy. In individuation, we begin the quest for wholeness, to become conscious as human beings at the point that we are not more and not less than others. You are becoming conscious of you and yourself. And when you understand that you are no more or no less than others, sky's the limit to who you are. But there is work to get there, because you're not going to believe it. You have a boss. You have this. You've been in the Marine Corps. You've been so conditioned. I mean, even not going through that, we are children that have parents that we are less than that.
Yeah, you're not confined. You're not limited by your past. I believe that.
Yes, that's the way to begin thinking about it, not being more or less than others. That's the good way to begin thinking about it.
Equal
all right?
to. Yep.
Yeah. So let's just stay here. I'm gonna stop sharing, and let's have an experience. So we have already worked with this word triangle last time with using the higher mind to do curious, capable, and certain. Okay.
Correct.
The word triangle as a mind triangle is something very specific to me. Some people might teach triangle as something else, though I don't like it. Word triangle, with the word triangle, we begin to embody some qualities. But also, the word triangles helps us do a map of what we need a map into, right? I don't want to get more specific with what this serves. So the way when we did the capable, certain, and curious, every line of the triangle has a supporting triangle. Is this gonna go back and forth? Okay, here it is. Okay. So see this one triangle that has problem solving, observe, and curiosity?
Yes.
Has a supporting triangle to it.
I see.
Okay. So the problem solving, what's the best way to address problem solving? Well, we want this in the immediate future, and we want to do it with ease. Okay, It's a very serious intention. But then how do you do ease? You do a triangle on that, right? Oh, I'll give you homework.
Oh, I see.
I'll give you homework. I'll send you these images. And
Okay.
I'll give you homework. I just wrote an ebook on this. Right. Then we have observe. And how do you do what's the supporting triangle to observe? Well, you want to be detached in your observation, which you're already learning how to do that with a higher mind. Yeah. And you want to have a lot of insight into what you observe. Well, I hope so. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That curiosity. What would you do with the curiosity? I said, well, I don't know. Curiosity is curiosity. I'm just going to give curiosity. Okay, but how about we place more attention on curiosity, and we're going to have a simultaneous of curiosity and attention.
Gotcha.
Okay, now each of this triangle creates another word that's complex. So right now we're just going to stay with this simple one. All right. So in this ebook, I'm going to email you the ebook. It has a workbook to also do. So when we take this triangle, problem, solve, curiosity, observe. Well, triangles come from geometry. The geometry I work with comes from sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is the 5 platonic solids. There are only 5 regular platonic solids in all the universes. Right? Okay, so coming back to the triangle. So we take this triangle and a supporting triangle, and how do we apply this to our career success? How do we apply this to our relationship? How do we apply this to heal past wounds? Oh, this gets deep. This is my spiel. This is feelfulness. Nobody else teaches this. Okay, so you're in the right place. So this can get very complex. Let it be simple. This is not something you're going to do right, because every time you look at one triangle, you're going to have different words attached to it.
Are they always going to start with the 3 red words?
we want to. We want to move from binary polarity, right, wrong, white, black. We want to move from that into this dynamic aspect of non-linearity. And although we have left and right with a middle in between, it's not linear, although we perceive it as linear. Although we have up and down and a middle between up and down, we perceive it as linear, but it's not linear.
Can you give me an example of a case where either left and right or up and down is not linear, please?
Well, that's how we perceive it, because we were thought to be linear. Even the calendar is linear, right?
I see. So what you're saying is there are no straight lines in nature. So there are, so because the linearity is only exists because of our current state of being bound by time. Is that?
Yes.
All right. So,
that's good.
So time is not, so like remove time from the equation, and what are you left with?
Well, you got to be left with choices. Creativity, multi-dimension, dynamic, individuation, transcending, getting to your soul.
Right.
So up and down, and has a middle, we're going to intentionally take it out of our patterns and put it in a triangle. It's like a little bit.
Yeah, to me, where my mind goes with this, like, I can't remember who said it. I think it was Charles Spurgeon. I think it was like, discernment is the ability to tell between what's wrong and what's right and what's almost right. It's like the three.
There you go.
Like what's wrong, what's right, what's almost right. So like so it's like, we have a saying in the Marine Corps where it's like the 70% solution, which is like, if you're sitting around and you're waiting for like the perfect everything so you can do the thing, you're never going to do the thing, because the perfect everything is never going to occur. So you always assume like, hey, look, 30% of this stuff is probably either wrong or going to go badly. You know what I mean? So you just step off and, and you just kind of, I don't know, that other 30% that you don't have, you just try to make it up along the way. But I like all of these ideas, like I know I'm rambling now, but like they're all kind of like just, I guess they're trying to converge in my brain. So like curiosity, we're going to be curious and we're going to have attention at the same time. So I'm thinking like we're going to focus where our curiosity is at. Like I'm intentionally going to be curious about a thing. I am going to then switch over. I'm going to become detached, right? So like I'm no longer biased in the process, or at least I'm going to try to remove my internal bias, and I'm going to use my insight, which is going to be based upon things like that I'm putting in, right? Like my subconscious, like things that I'm consuming and things that I'm not consuming, but input and output, because it both impacts me, right? Well, it impacts the collective unconscious, but it impacts my own unconscious, my own subconscious, right? So it's like the things that you're putting in will impact your insight, which will impact your curiosity, which will lead to you solving your problem. Which is not linear, though. Leading is non-linear. It's just kind of like...
Correct.
They're sides of a triangle. It's like a side of a triangle, right? It's like, you got three sides, you got your... it's a triangle. It's like when you have two, the other one will come in focus, almost. I don't know.
Well, when you have two, you're gonna look for the third, and you're gonna put a third, and that can always change depending on your circumstance. So I like your rambling, because that means you're absorbing this, and I cannot ask more from you other than you absorbing this. Okay, so we're gonna go a little we're gonna go over time, but give me a few more minutes, okay? So
that's fine.
see how this bigger triangle is now formed. So now this line of the bigger triangle becomes a simultaneous detached.
And what else?
That is, it's complex, but you're already doing this with higher mind. This big line becomes an insight with immediate future. Oh, I have a problem, so I'm going to observe with insight. Let's apply that to the immediate future. Right? And then this line becomes ease with attention. This can be applied so many things, but one of the first thing is like
relax your eyeballs.
There's the sensation. Congratulations. Yes, because what we do with the attention, we get so crisp and so tense because we need to focus, concentrate, pay attention, observe, right? So when you learn to allocate your attention in a little bit of a detached, because you're still going to pay attention. It's impossible not to pay attention. You lower your eyelids, you still pay a lot of attention. You have all of the other four senses, right? And
yes.
You can even see through your eyelids. Then you're right. The sensation that comes with it, because you already practice it, it's relax your eyeballs.
Let me say, like this it connects with me because I'm teaching my son to drive, and it's like gas. The way you just explained that to me, your attention is like the pedal of your car. You can press it very hard, and you can run out of gas quickly, or you can do you can drive economically, and you can go further. Man.
Very good.
Wow, that's insane.
All right, so let's have an experience. All right, so let's have a experience. We're going to do the rose clear. I want you to use, I'm going to go a little quick. You already know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So from your space, you're going to clear doubt. It's going to go quick.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And it's just going to disintegrate. Okay?
I'm capable.
You are, yes. Okay. Then let's clear a resistance. Very good. Very good. All right. And one more thing. Another thing we want to clear?
Bias, probably.
Okay, go ahead and let's clear bias. Just observe the sensation in the body. It's probably larger than the other two. Okay, just clear it. Let it disintegrate. Let it disintegrate. You're capable. You're certain. You're curious. Very good.
Yep. I'm open. I'm an open book.
Good. Good. So now, higher mind, take your attention behind your eyes. Just relax. It's not that hard. It's very simple. Let it be joyful. Let it be playful. Yeah. Higher mind behind your eyes, 1.5 inches.
Got it.
An inch up.
Got it.
How far are you when you got to 1 inch up?
I was already there, but I kind of moved back, and then I followed your directions.
Okay, then just be in a higher mind. In higher mind, you're not close to your skull. You're not outside your head. You're right there in the middle. Okay.
Okay.
Because you already know the sensation of the higher mind. Congratulations. So just be in a higher mind. And in this, we're going to observe detached, stay in a higher mind. You're going to drop, you're going to come back. You're going to drop, you're going to come back. You're going to drop, you're going to come back. You can lower your eyelids. You can keep your eyes open. Just don't look at me, whichever way it's comfortable for you. So we're going to observe a difficulty. You don't have to tell me about it. Something that is just something like that. Just observe it, being detached from it, and being curious. How detached can you be from that difficulty? Just be curious. Don't try to problem solve just yet, right? Because you want to problem solve. It's difficult, right? But let's just observe it with curiosity right now, and we're going to work on the triangles of the observing curiosity. So as you observe curiously, in a detached way, this difficulty, right? Let's have some insight. Bring some insight into possibilities of how the difficulty could be not as difficult. Maybe we can put some love into it. Maybe we can use another rose to clear something that shows up in this. Okay, go back in higher mind if this difficulty comes a bit heavy. Yeah, just lift it up. You can bring God into this. You can bring Christ. You can bring Mother God. This Trinity, Christian Trinity. There you go. Look how that changed for you. Very good. So just make it a little lighter, but also the insight of how you already know how to make the difficulty lighter. Not necessarily by doing something, but by being the lightness part of the difficulty. Being curious on how can that happen. This is something new about getting the insight into being that lightness, meaning being in a higher mind and sensing the lightness in your body without making sense of it, without problem solving in a linear way, but having an insight into the immediacy of the future in your physical body, of a little bit of lightness. You can have a little bit more of lightness. You can intentionally add the sensation that you have from clearing other stuff, intentionally bring that lightness into this lightness of the difficulty. It's not going to translate right away, but let it intentionally put it there. Yeah? And as you intentionally keep this lightness of the clearing into this difficulty, let it marinate, let it stew, let it be there, let it ponder. I want you to continue to feel the lightness of the clearing, and something comes to you, clear that. Yeah, bring, as you clear something, bring in curiosity, detached attention. So many triangles we can make with this big triangle on a screen, which is so many possibilities that aid you, makes it easier, adds ease into the problem solving, which is not linear. You go in multi-dimensional, dynamic aspect of who you are on your way to individuation. You are already embodying a different persona of who you want to be. You are already lightening the shadow. So much shadow work you're already doing just in this exercise, a lot of shadow work. And then your soul already comes in and says, yes, I can bring lightness into this difficulty. I can be that lightness into this difficulty, because this difficulty involves other people too. And as I become the lightness, as I vibrate the lightness, as I have the sensation of the lightness as best as I could in that moment, as I have it and then I don't, as I have it and then I don't, as I bring it in and it drops, I bring it in and it drops. This beingness, it will be available in the unconsciousness of my environment with these people in this circle of mine. And it will transfer without me needing to say anything about it, to do anything about this particular lightness other than being it. So take a breath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a lot to say. Man. Okay. Like for me, I caught it. I was doing two things. I was having two thoughts. Well, I don't know if you want me to tell you what I was thinking about, but one was my work thing, right? And then I was like, okay, that's as I was doing the higher mind thing, I was like, man, work. That's like so like not important. So then I put some of those fears and some of those thoughts that I have about my son, sometimes some of those intrusive ones there. And I saw how weak and fragile they were. And like my first instinct, like, I don't know, like, I saw how vulnerable it was. And like, it was almost like I can just poke it with a stick. Like, you know, like a little animal or something, you can just, but you don't do that, because I was like, man, that's a piece of me, right? There's a piece of me in there that's like, it's almost like that's like a baby only knows how to cry, right? That's the only way it can express itself. Like there's probably a part of me that can only express itself through like that worst case scenario type, you know, that's just how it is. That's the piece of you, that's a part of you, that's a part of who you are. Like, and it's a part of all of us, right? Like we all have that piece, right? Now what goes inside of that piece is based off your life. But it's like that piece is there in all of us, right? And if you don't have that piece, that's what you're talking about. It's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like you got a very important functioning part in there that just so happens to not be functioning. So like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, so like, it's cool to be able to do that. And it seemed like I was like thinking, like when you were like, yeah, now I can use this lightness, like, the feeling of the clearing that you get, you can choose what you use it on. Like I can direct that action, that sensation towards stuff, even more intentionally than I could. Like I could really do it intentionally, like almost like higher mind is making yourself smaller.
Ego.
It's making yourself smaller, and when you make it, it's like perspective. Like an ant, right? Like an ant can probably see a lot, you know, like compared to our like vision or whatever, I guess. Like it's perspective. Like when you make yourself smaller in the same space, like if I got like if I became the size of an ant in my house, right? Like it would seem much more vast to me. Like I'd be like, whoa, it's like the Grand Canyon here. But I would be able to see more, you know what I mean? But then, like, I can drill in. Like, I can see the forest and I can see the trees. I can choose when I want to see which, almost. It sounds like I'm saying to myself. Oh, man, like, that's a pretty... Yeah, because it's like the higher mind is like you're reaching out. It's like, hey, man, like, here, let me get into some of this planning. All right, let me get to the planning part of my brain. Let me like, what do I know about this? Like, what the restriction too of the time? Like when you said, like, what did you say? Detached, not detached attention. It's the part of the triangle. I think it's the lower left part of the triangle, maybe. it was like not detached attention. Was it detached attention? Yeah, because to me, detached attention is like I'm able to look at this thing in its entirety, right? And like I may not be able to make it out. I may like it's going to be fuzzy, like it's going to be pixelated at parts. But like the more I look at it, like the more I can maybe start to see, fill in the gap. Like you said, it's the third side of the triangle, whatever it is. Whatever I don't know, that's what I'm conscious about. That's what I choose, not conscious. That's what I consciously choose to focus my attention on. What type of attention? Because you said attention, focus, and concentration and something else are different things, right? But like I am attentively thinking about something I don't know. And like they're like shit's like filling in. Like, you know, it's like sand. There's something I read a book. It was How to Own Your Own Mind by Carnegie, I think. I don't know somebody, but there was something like that. It was like almost obsessive, being obsessive, and that's kind of like it resonated with me because that's how I am about the Bible, which I just finished my first read through with the Bible last night. Revelation, like the last one, like I just got through with the whole. So now I'm waiting on my Ethiopian Bible to get here with all 88 books. So it's coming. Well, my thing is what I'm trying to say is like I obsess over something and I try to get it to where like it takes over, you know, and like the Bible is a great example of that because that's exactly what it does. Like the Holy Spirit through there, it just like it's that constant programming, and then like you see it and it's just a story. But then you can see it's an allegory as well. Then it's an example of something. You know what I mean? It's guidance. It's so much more than just a story. Like, and that's what this like this process, right? To me, is like obsessing over learning how your mind works, learning that you are in control, right? Because man, like we are slaves to our I don't know what you want to call it, but we are slaves to something until we realize it. Plato's cave comes to mind. It's like you walk out the cave, you see like, whoa, man, like I can like that's not I don't have to feel that way. Like I know that's the first thing that comes to me because that's the first thing that comes to me because it is just that. It's an instinct. You know what I mean? Like don't be more than just a dog. You know, like if I give my dog a snack and I try to take it from her, her instinct is to bite me. Like, not realizing, like, okay, that could be the last snack you ever get, right? You know what I mean? Like, stop. Like, be the dog, but be the good dog. Be the good dog. Man, man, Carmen, you get me, like, going. I don't know how, I don't know why, but, like, my brain just goes and goes and goes. And it's all like all that stuff happens. Like I see it, and it's like because it's there, and I don't know, it's working in there, it's getting into my subconscious. Maybe I'm thinking about it. I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the exercise, the mind thing. Like you're right. Like I could just pull that in. Like okay, let's go here. All right, let me get some planning from here. Like what can I do with that? Like it's almost like you're shining different kind of lights on it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no, I need this light. All right, let me shine that on there. All right, no, that was not working. Yeah, that's it.
Insight, you got so much insight. I didn't even guide you through insight. Insight showed up. A large amount of insight showed up.
And I'm getting ready now you're going to tell me that the insight comes from the collective something.
No, it works. It comes from you going through this triangle. From you experiencing these words, from you experiencing a new persona. Well, not necessarily a new persona, but it's a temporary, it's not necessarily a persona, but you having this experience by combining these different states of being. We gotta keep it simple now, okay? Keep it simple. Insight just showed up. observe, when you're in observe mode, you're in a state of being. When you're curiosity, you're in a state of being. As being detached, a state of being. And when you combine these three, it creates another state of being. So observe, curiosity, detach, you will create insight by default.
It's like, you know, when someone comes to you for advice and like you got all the advice in the world, but then it's like your own problem and you're just like, I got nothing. It's almost like you're able to say like, oh no, man, this is just somebody else's problem. Like, I figured it out. But really, it's yours.
Whichever way you apply, because this has unlimited application in every moment of your life.
It does. Wow. Man, I feel so frustrated trying to explain this stuff like to my wife because like.
But you cannot. She can watch this. You cannot. She needs to experience it. It is this. You cannot put words to it other than experiencing it and observing it. We can talk about your experience, so she can watch this because it's recorded. But what I'm going to do, remember I told you about that this triangle, I just put it into an ebook, which eventually it's part of my FEELFULNESS book. I'm going to send you one part because this triangle we apply to career success, relationship, and healing your pain, right? Your past pain. So I'm going to send you this part. It has exercises. Your wife can do her own exercise. You do your own. Don't tell each other what to do. Don't tell each other what you should do, whether it's right or wrong. Just listen. And this part, you're just going to listen. Don't compare your answers to your experiences. And when you want to say something, you're just going to go, I hear you. That's it.
Gotcha. Well, I'm looking forward to it because this is always eye-opening to me, and like I always walk away with something that like I feel mentally stronger, you know, like, or not even stronger. It's not stronger. Like it helps to make sense of like I think things that I already like. I don't want to say I already know them because that sounds a certain type of way. Things I'm familiar with. Like things that I just already feel familiar with, and it's like, man, like this makes sense.
And you know what they said, a lot of secrets are hidden in plain sight.
Yes. Yes.
We don't have time to allocate our attention on this stuff. So now you do. You make time to allocate your attention on this stuff.
Yes. Good. Well said.
So the feeling right here at the bottom, we evaluate information based on personal values, emotion, and making decisions that congruate with our values. And remember the internal representation of reality, values and beliefs, they sit at the bottom. And this is not something we think about it in words. We just know. We know it in our gut. It's like that. And some of them is not. Some emotions are reactive, and some are responsive. And you already learn how to respond as opposed to react. Now, sensation are you're experiencing the world through the senses. We have 5 senses, and you better, because we need to have 5 senses, and you gather information about the physical environment. This is all automatic. We all have sensations. And then the intuition comes here, and it comes with perceiving patterns and connections in information and generating possibilities for the future. Okay, this is how this functions. This is not right or wrong, right? So when we do the higher mind, when you do the higher mind, you combine all of these. And it's very important to not stay too much in a thinking, in analyzing and all of the conclusion. We don't want to eliminate thinking, but in this day of age, we are so conditioned to stay in the thinking mode, to analyze, to draw conclusion. And the conclusion is, I like it, I don't like it, it's right and wrong. But now with all of the social media, it created such a pattern in our subconscious to like or dislike something. When you like or dislike something, you immediately make a decision. And then you arrive to a decision fatigue.
Yes, yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay, so not only we are fatigued with information and so much information that comes to us, and we get tired of it, and we can't keep up with that. On top of it, we experience decision fatigue. And we don't know why our head is like, I can't keep up with things anymore. I'm about to get out of my head. I'm all stressed. I just need to. And then you run, fight, or freeze, or fawn, or whatever. So I applaud you and every single one of you to come here and learn about you and how you function at automatic level, and learning to apply these tools, the higher mind, the rose, and coming back into the center. You already have such great results. Okay, so let me see now. Do you see? Let me see. What do you see? Okay, wait. Do you see this? The thought integrated and feeling?
Yes.
Okay. That's not what I want to show, but let me go through. Okay, this is the higher mind. We talked about this. What is the other image? Okay, here are the senses, right? We talked about. Let me move this a little bit. Here are the senses. You know, we hear, we see, we taste, we smell, and we touch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when we meditate, the reason we close our eyes, and like I guided you last time, just close our eyes, not in a go to sleep, but lower the eyelids, is because we receive so much input through what we see, analyzed, right or wrong, like or dislike, to do or not to do. To keep it simple, we lower the eyelids to reduce the input stimuli. Okay, and now you have your headphones on, which also helps you reduce the input stimuli and focus on this, so you can allocate your attention on what you're doing right now. Right? Attention, focus, concentration, observation, 4 different things. Nobody teaches you that. All right. So let me go to this other image, which eventually I'm going to get there.
Well, you've given me plenty to chew on with the attention, focus, and concentration are 3 other things, or 3 different things.
4 different things.
Oh, 4. What did I miss one? Attention, focus, concentration.
Do not worry.
Oh,
you're
okay.
already doing with a higher mind. You're already doing all 4 of them.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so let me see. What is this? Okay, what I want to get. Do you see? You don't see this.
I see you.
Oh, you don't need to see me. That's what the one.
And a drum.
Yeah, that's when I do spiritual ceremonies. Is the drum helps, the beat of the drum helps induce theta brain waves, and it takes you into meditation and calm space. And I don't mean to get you dizzy with the images right now, which you probably got dizzy a little bit.